This is a big one. On-Chain Gaming is a Web3 gaming YouTube channel. I watched a lot of it. Now, here's the thing about on-chain gaming. Jacob Borowitzki, I should know this, I'm a Polish guy too. He had a partnership with Gala Games, where Gala Games was funding most of their channel. In other words, he had two staff members, and he's talked about this publicly. He had two staff members, and he said flat out that if not for Gala's partnership, he wouldn't be able to have those two staff members. So a big chunk of their revenue is coming from Gala Games. Well, Gala Games recently ended its partnership with On-Chain Gaming over a video he made. So let's take a look at this. I hope this goes to the right one. For those that don't know, Gala Games is the company behind Townstar and currently Mirandus, as well as there's like some Champions thing and some other ones. It's a pretty big game company, but a lot of their games aren't live. They're just starting to kind of become live now. So let's look at what happened here, because Jake, in his own words, Jake Berwacki. Actually, I don't know if that's Polish. Usually Polish is SKI, but could be. Okay, here it is. Well, I'll get to that in a second. For those who don't know, Gala Games sent a takedown request on my last Mirandus video. Mirandus is a kind of an open world action RPG kind of a game on the Gala Games network. And it said, so they sent a takedown request in their last Mirandus video, told him not to make other Mirandus videos he was working on, and ended the partnership with me. So, which, by the way, if they're gonna say, yeah, we're ending the partnership, I'm like, I'm not listening to anything you tell me. I'm gonna make all the videos, and they're gonna be worse than they were, I think. And so it's still debating if I should stream Go Gala Games Mirandus for old time's sake. And he talked about, but they also didn't invite me to the YouTube Mirandus playtest, excuse me, so I'm pretty much blacklisted. Yeah, I wasn't invited either, by the way. Someone said that's a shame. I'm rooting for you, Jake. Hopefully another partnership comes through. Says I'm working on a plan to relaunch with zero crypto gaming sponsors moving forward. Only my real opinions, raw, no strings. Now, we're going to talk about the relaunch a little bit in a minute, but I want to talk about this is why I've been so careful about what sponsors I might bring onto the channel. And yet I have not brought one yet. I probably get at least one or two in my inbox every week, and none of them are Algorand based. I've had a couple of Algorand. I have one that I hope happens, and when it does happen, I'll let you know. There's one that I've had talks with that I actually think would be great for the channel, because I like what they do, and I don't foresee any conflicts. Of course, you never really know, but there's one that I think would be good, and then a couple other ones that kind of, yeah, I just didn't. There's I've learned to spot certain red flags pretty early on, and they're not. Once I see them, I'm like, no, I'm good, because I don't want audience trust is the most important thing to me. Your guys' trust matters more than anything else. I mean, I could make I could take any number of these ones that have come through and make a quick buck on stuff that I don't really believe in, but that's not what I'm going to do. It has to be something I want to use. So if it's outside of like Algorand, HBAR, Near, Cosmos, maybe Bitcoin. I don't think any way Bitcoin is going to reach out, but it has to be based on something I've heard of and am interested in, and it could be new, but it has to be intriguing, and they almost never are. Then this one comes up, and I think this is really interesting. Recently, a well-known Web3 gaming content creator had to take a video down because they were partnered and it talked about ROI. So I should add a little context, because he didn't really put that in there. What Jake had done is he talked about providing. So the Mirandus game uses Mitrium. That's like its native currency. Now, I think Gala is going away from this, by the way, because they definitely did on Townstar. The town coin crashed, and although they haven't really come back, they did pay out a little Gala for the recent Mayhem competitions, but otherwise they decided they're going away from town, and all stuff is just going to be handled in Gala. So I wonder how this was created before that decision. So I wonder how many other games are going to start using Gala and not their own coin. But anyway, so Jake had taken Mitrium, and he created a pool on Uniswap, a liquidity pool, because liquidity was really, really low. And so some people had accused him of like trying to pump the coin using his video. I don't necessarily have a problem with him providing liquidity. I think that's actually a really important thing in the ecosystem to do. Like, yeah, he would probably make some profits off of it, but I don't know. I've done some liquidity pools, and our whole Algorand experiment is about how like a lot of times you get screwed on it anyway, so you don't really make those huge gains. So I don't really have a problem with it. But I think this is interesting. It said recently a well-known Web3 gaming content creator had to take a video down because they were partnered and had talked about ROI, which legally they can't. I don't know if is that true? I think it depends on how you talk about it. I've seen a lot of videos talk about ROI. I don't know that that's really true, but okay. Maybe he means that they didn't, or that was part of their partnership. Anyway, they then stated that blockchain gaming without ROI is pointless. Do you agree? Well, okay, let's keep going. And you can see I said agree need ROI, or did I? Or is that just who won? So personally, I can think of a lot of benefits blockchain can bring that has nothing to do with ROI. Do you have any examples? Well, do you have any examples? That would be my question. But this poll is just a temperature check to make sure I'm not making assumptions about this space. And then Lycan Warlord, friend of the channel, in fact, I might interview him at some point just because I think he's a really interesting guy. Says the only reason Gala succeeded this far is ROI boys. Yeah, for sure. The real reason they dumped Jake Browatsky is because of his midterm pool stunt, which I just talked about. I don't know if it's that much of a stunt, but regardless, Gala's doing their best to pretend it's about the games when in reality, we all know the truth. And yeah, I did like that comment. And Gaspod WD says, not really following his stuff. Always been too money based for me. What is Mitrium? Well, dude, if you're going to talk about this, shouldn't you know something about this? Anyway, he says, I've never really got into Gala ecosystem beyond playing Spider Tanks and Superior. I don't even know what their token, their NFTs. Really? Well, yeah, I want to be clear about this. Absolutely. Gala Games knows that they're selling ROI. They kind of went away from that when the town crashed because suddenly there was no ROI and they had to shut off earnings. So then suddenly they're talking about how the games are so important. Like, really? Is it? Oh, really? Because before, the whole thing was all about how important how important the ROI was, how you can play and earn all this money. I don't know. Let's just take Townstar as an example. Like, is it better for being a blockchain based game versus just a regular game? I'm not sure. Actually, I don't think it is. I think it'd be better if it was just a regular game because right now it's pretty much pay to win. They release their incentives as a company is to like keep churning out NFTs, which eventually are just going to make them so powerful because they keep having all these NFTs in the game that replace real skill in the game. And if you're a regular player that doesn't have those NFTs or only has one or two, you just simply can't compete. And there are some ultra powerful NFTs that aren't nerfed in any way. So like there's a dragon that you could, so gas production, building up gas production in the game. For those that don't know, you're basically building a town. It's kind of like a cash flow game because you got to keep your cash running. You got to keep your town or your farm running. Really more of a farm than a town, but you have to keep that running. Well, gas production, you start with 40 gas, but you have to make your own gas at some point, and that's a big part of the game. But if you have this dragon NFT, you instantly can send. You don't need to do gas at all. That is a huge advantage in the game. So, and they don't have a non NFT, and they never will. By the way, they'll never have a non NFT competition. It's always going to be set up for people to buy more NFTs so they can keep being competitive. And because you have to keep buying those NFTs, I don't think you're ever going to make money. So I don't think there actually is any ROI here. And now, back in the day when there was still earning just for playing the game, you just had to complete like 1,000 points a day or whatever it was. Then they went to like where it increases. By the way, gaming earning not back on, and none of their new NFTs are going to earn. So yeah, they're kind of going away from that. So I don't know, like, what is the point? You can say, well, you can own them and trade them. It's like, yeah, well, go trade those old NFTs on OpenSea and let me know how much you get for them. Because like my $300 Townstar NFT you can get for about $15 now. So yeah, great. Great. I get the right to be hosed by it. That's wonderful. I'm not convinced, but anyway, on chain gaming, I mean, he would say some stuff. He would say like, "Oh, I'm not influenced by these, by the fact that I am sponsored by Gala Games at all. I say whatever I want." It's like, no, you don't. Absolutely, no, you don't. I think he's always known that. He's a very compelling speaker. It's hard. I don't dislike him, by the way. I just want to be clear about that. I think he's a great speaker. I just think he was too. Okay, let's see what he has to say. I'm working on a plan to relaunch on-chain gaming in a few months with zero external sponsors going forward. None. I don't think you got to do that. Just be really careful, really, really careful, and have them be like complimentary, like a wallet or something like that. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, there's no money bias, no clauses limiting my free speech. So he admits that there are clauses limiting free speech, which contradicts what he said, because he said there's no way I'm not telling you guys the truth. So he has said that on his channel, because he would get a lot of flack for people saying, well, you're sponsored by Gala Games, you never say anything negative against them, which I think we all kind of knew. I mean, it's not a surprise, but it's just interesting that he basically admits that there were clauses limiting his speech. No requirement to cover certain games. He must have had that requirement. Only real takes based on what I want to talk about in Web3 gaming, entirely based on the fundamental truth, never any strings attached. Well, I mean, that's good. I just decided I was going to do that from day one, like, because I saw the potential danger in not doing that. Funding for video production will come from promoting my own apps. I've been building some epic stuff with my new technical business partner. Okay, that's kind of cool. First one is AI related, but the second is exactly the app I think we need for Web3 gaming. The first will be launched within the month. Okay. And Patreon. It's weird that it doesn't talk about YouTube ads. I mean, I know it's not much, but it's not bad. A channel at his size, I mean, he's making decent stuff, right? Not enough to pay like all these extra people to have a staff, I don't think, but I don't know. I don't think you need it. He could do it. He could do it on his own. Anyway, he says, while I will continue investing in projects I believe in, I will always fully disclose where my bags are. I'd love to hear constructive feedback on this plan. Would this be the on-chain gaming you want to see? Any interesting comments? How can you do such a drastic 180 on Mirandus? For over a year, he kept saying best project ever. How can this change so suddenly? Interesting. He says, where did you hear that I changed my views on Mirandus? Not doing sponsored content doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean I won't cover Mirandus. But it means I can say anything and everything I want about Mirandus. Yeah. Okay. I am very curious. Yeah, I am very curious what he'll end up doing. So I want to see what the channel looks like once he's relaunched and is actually saying what he believes in.